decimos a nuestros padres, "You left this"? ¿Por qué? Y mami decía, coño, porque me estaba muriendo de hambre. That's why.
En mi barrio, en Puerto Tierra, el porciento de muchachos jóvenes que se iban para Nueva York y se iban ilegalmente en los barcos y en eso, yo te diría que pasaron de 200 o 300. Y las invitaciones que yo tuve para montarme en un barco de eso era todos los días.
Bueno, los boricuas que llegaron a Nueva York habían empezado desde fines del siglo XIX, pero con la Segunda Guerra Mundial llegaron muchísimos.
Cuando un número enorme de puertorriqueños empezaron a migrar a Nueva York y pues ahí fue que se empezó a crear esa gran comunidad puertorriqueña. Nuyorican es una palabra controversial para alguna gente. Hay cierta gente de ciertas generaciones, especialmente los que crecieron en los 50, 60, que hasta el día de hoy dicen como que, hey, Nuyorican, eso yo crecí con eso como un insulto, entonces, no, yo soy puertorriqueña de Nueva York. Podemos definir a grandes rasgos, quizás de la manera menos prejuiciada posible, Nuyorican es un puertorriqueño nacido y o criado en Nueva York. Tanto afroamericanos como puertorriqueños estaban llegando a Nueva York cerca de los mismos momentos. La gran migración de afroamericanos era desde el sur hacia Nueva York y la nuestra, pues por supuesto, desde la isla hacia Nueva York. Y ambos grupos ocupábamos lugares similares en términos socioeconómicos, en términos de la cabida que tuvimos dentro de la sociedad, el sistema socioeconómico de Nueva York. Entonces no es de extrañar que terminamos compartiendo o los mismos vecindarios o creando pequeñas comunidades una al lado de la otra.
Durante ese tiempo el barrio estaba separado en diferentes partes. En el parte de West Side tú tenías los partes de los africanos americanos allá, que la gente no podía pasar allá si no formaban un revuelo. Aquí por Quinta hasta Lexington era de los boricuas o de los puertorriqueños.
La relación boricua y afroamericana tenía sus momentos difíciles.
Éramos grupos que la sociedad más o menos percibía de la misma manera. Había una distinción, estos son puertorriqueños y estos son afroamericanos, pero había una sospecha similar.
Nosotros usamos la palabra nosotros, hablando de la situación, de la crisis de nuestras escuelas, de nuestros barrios, de los problemas con los landlords. Era siempre una palabra nosotros que incluía a los afroamericanos.
Había un sentido de hermandad hasta cierto punto, luchas compartidas en términos del acceso a la educación, en términos de las luchas por mejorar la vivienda, porque cuando se puso de moda eso de que quemaban los edificios, los propios dueños de los edificios para ahuyentar a los inquilinos y cobrar el seguro, pues eso era algo que estaba afectando a ambos grupos. Esos eran los grandes grupos afectados.
And so what happens is you have people who love basketball, come from the island, they infiltrate, unfortunately, mostly areas that were poor, that had lack of resources. But the resource that was present at all times was the outdoor basketball court. And Boricuas fled to it. Now, those courts were predominantly at that point dominated by African Americans. And they had their language, their lingo, their slang, their way of dressing, their behavior patterns. And the Boricuas, since we were all in the same courts together, we just meshed and we created this like hybrid approach towards basketball, which was not distinctly Boricua or distinctly African American, but distinctly Nuyorican.
La manera de jugarlo, de moverse en la cancha, era distinta. Y era orientado al baloncesto de las calles, que es un baloncesto de los negros en Estados Unidos. Que es el baloncesto mucho más acrobático, mucho más vistoso. Eso de picarse la bola entre las piernas, por la espalda, eso no era mínimo en Puerto Rico antes.
El juego de baloncesto no era solamente un juego, era un showcase. Era una cosa que lo público quería ver, los famosos, hacer algo diferente. Y el showcase que Harlem tenía mucho se llamaba los Razzle Dazzle, o como ahora they call it the swagger, que era un tiro de confianza y también sabiendo que tú podías ganar el juego hablando con el hombre.
You know, as Boricuas planted themselves in New York, planted themselves in the asphalt, the game for them started to really elevate, and that creativity that had been the spine of what defines outdoor basketball started to position into the Nuyorican ball players.
La influencia de Estados Unidos en el básquet nuestro ha sido positiva. O sea, nosotros somos herederos de esa cultura baloncelística americana que es el mejor baloncesto del mundo. Y nosotros estábamos ahí. Por lo menos dentro de la creación colonial se nos pegó eso bueno.
Was actually before Rapper's Delight. So there was already groups rapping in the 70s on wax.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also, Fat Joe is probably off because I think Fat Joe maybe made that 50-50 statement out of emotion. Mm-hmm. But Puerto Ricans are a small group. You know, mm-hmm. The island only has 3 million people, where FBA's is for 40 million.
Yeah.
So it's not going to compare numerically.
Yeah.
But because it was in the Bronx and that's where a lot of Puerto Ricans were living, you know, I think they did play a role. You're using the word create. I don't know what the right word is.
I'm saying that they just happened to be there. They didn't create anything, nor did they innovate anything, and nor did they really influence the culture, if we're going to be very honest, and that's okay. That's okay. The black people created scratching and everything. We created all of the innovations. Just because a Puerto Rican was there, you can't point to a Puerto Rican dude and say, hey, this dude did something that everybody else followed. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay.
Now,
the Puerto Ricans were the first students of hip hop.
Okay.
That's okay. That's a great distinction. Just tell the truth. You're the first student.
Hannibal gives the park its voice, the players make it famous, but it's the crowd that brings the magic.
You have people on the fences, on top of buildings, and, you know, it was a traffic stopping experience.
People used to be all over the gates, up in the trees, standing on their own cars, put the garbage cans upside down, stand on the garbage cans. It was what Harlem had.
God forbid you had to go to the bathroom. Because if you had to go to the bathroom, you weren't going to have a seat when you came back.
It was addicts that forgot they was addicts. For that hour and a half or 3 hours, they forgot they had habits. You had people left Rucker, didn't know where their car was parked. Was standing outside of Rucker, said, man, I can't believe where I left my car. Because their mind had went on a basketball extravaganza, a basketball trip.
Rucker Park is considered the mecca of basketball, but why is it so famous? After World War II ended, basketball was on the rise in America. The first NBA game took place in 1946, but the league mainly featured white players as segregation was still widespread. Growing up in New York City, Holcomb Rucker saw the hardships that many African-American kids from the inner city faced, so he wanted to do his part to help them become successful and stay out of trouble. After becoming an executive for the Department of Parks and Recreation in Harlem, in 1946, Rucker started a summer youth basketball league which played in New York City. Seeing the success it was having, Rucker decided to start a pro tournament on 155th Street in Harlem. As time went on, the tournament featured NBA and college players like Wilt, Kareem, and Dr. J, in addition to streetball icons like Joe Hammond, Earl Manigault, and Pee Wee Kirkland. Rucker used his connections in the spotlight of the league to help over 700 kids get college basketball scholarships. And after he passed away, the park was named after him in 1974. In recent years, legendary players like Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, and Kevin Durant have played at Rucker Park, and it remains a symbolic place for basketball culture and history in Harlem. So what is the most legendary performance in Rucker Park history?
Julius had grown to 6'6" and averaged 27 points and 20 rebounds a game. But the rules restricted his play because at the time, the NCAA still prohibited dunking. He had to save that for the playgrounds. And after the school year was up, he began heading to the most famous playground of them all. Since the 50s, Rucker Park in Harlem had hosted summer tournaments that brought names as big as Wilt Chamberlain and Connie Hawkins to the blacktop to play a version of the game where style was essential to the substance.
The first game you got in on this court here and played like a bum, you was a bum. So when Jerry Sherman came to Rucker, he'd either be known in the basketball world as a great player, or he would have probably figured out a way to deal with his books and keep his grades high.
We played him the first game, and they kept saying, you wait till Julius gets here. You wait till Julius. And I'm like, who's Julius? I'm in the NBA. What I care about Julius?
Tom Hoover had never heard of him, but soon enough, the kid named Julius was doing things that no one at the Rucker would ever forget.
At the baseline, he dunks, and the guy takes the ball out to throw it the length of the court for a fast break. He jumps up in the air and catches the ball and throws it down.
Charlie Scott shot a long shot, and Julius came, took it out of the air, and dunked it.
I took it right there. I said, I don't need to see anything else. This was it.
People here in Harlem, they really know good basketball. And, you know, if you do something real nice, you know, they show their appreciation.
He came down one time. I had the angle on him. He dunked the ball so bad, the ball hit me in the top of the head. My teeth fell out on the ground. The crowd roared. I had scrambled to grab him off the ground and put him back in my mouth. That helped build his reputation.
There was just one thing left for Julius to earn at the Rucker.
They would call him different names, Little Hawk.
He went over to the announcer and said, I'm not the Little Hawk. That's Connie Hawkins. So then they called him the Claw. Oh, man, the Claw's got the ball going. I was like, I'm thinking, I wonder who he's talking about. He's calling me the Claw. I didn't want to be the Claw. They were calling him all sorts of names. Oh, what a rebound by Black Moses. Black Moses, what are you talking about? He said, if you want to call me anything, call me the doctor. So you know, they said, well, the doctor is operating tonight.
All of a sudden, Dr. J, Dr. J, Dr. J.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
Dr. J.
Why?
All his moves he do, that's why.
Behind me, up on the roof, is a school. They were all on the roof. He drew the greatest crowd in the history of the Rucker Pro League.
You had people up in the trees, sitting on branches. Everywhere you looked around, there were people.
It wasn't even standing room only. People could not see enough of the game. We had people on the bridges.
This is where the legend of Dr. J started.
It was 1971. For years now, the playground style of basketball had been growing, though you wouldn't have known it from watching an NBA game.
Bradley jumps from 20 and hits.
But the upstart ABA, founded in 1967, was a whole different story.
We played that street kind of ball, you know, where we pushing it up.
Guys get up in the air, they like, oh, let me change it, put it around here. Let me do some of this.
Yeah.
Bam.
We were entertaining. You know, we come down, dunk on you, you know, come down and make a tricky move.
We're playing in a league that endorses discovery.
And there, my friends, is the very dramatic brand of basketball which can be enjoyed only in the ABA.
We always felt the NBA was that old slow-down ball. They come up, run plays. I mean, you know, come on, man. We want to see that.
It was like the NBA was ashamed of dunking, and the ABA embraced it. There wasn't anything like this, and if you loved basketball, you had to love this.
Seals has made a reputation at the same park where some of the greatest players in the game earned theirs. Players like Pee Wee Kirkland, one of the original street ball giants. Pee Wee had the chance to play in the NBA, but he chose the streets. Because back in the late 60s, there was more money to be made in Harlem. Millions flowed through Kirkland's illegal enterprises. Why play second string for 40 grand a year in the NBA when he had unlimited fame and fortune in Harlem?
Oh, you ain't guarding me. Here I go. Oh, no, I'm back again. Now I thought you was guarding me. I'm saying, now, let's go push up. Now, push up. He's in the air. I done faked him, but I come back to fake him again. I'm going to the basket, laying it up, behind my back, double reverse fake, head fake. I'm looking at him and saying, man, you can't guard me. I got so many moves. Last game, I shook myself.
Pee Wee was shaking bait. I mean, Pee Wee had the street flamboyant, the court flamboyant. Pee Wee was just flamboyant all over.
The reason I was known for being the guy with the trash talk is because, like Muhammad Ali talk a lot of trash, but people didn't come to see Muhammad Ali win. They came to see Muhammad Ali lose. And because I talked so much trash, when people came to Rucker, they didn't come to Rucker to root for Pee Wee Kirkland. They came to Rucker to root against Pee Wee Kirkland. That of and in itself brought the best out of Pee Wee Kirkland. It's because I'm the master at crossover. I mean, when Iverson on national television rocked Jordan and re-rocked Jordan, not only did I know what Iverson did to rock Jordan, I knew what was in Jordan's mind to get him re-rocked. How did I know that? Because Pee Wee Kirkland created a reputation as being a legend by doing that every game of my life. I took somebody's mind somewhere on the court it had never been before.
A New York City point guard will give up his girl and his chain before he give up his dribble. They were calling me a young Mozart.
And he was just smooth, you know what I mean? It was like string music.
Praise be the orchestrators, the maestros of the tempo, the ones who made the pavement more precious. From Brooklyn to Left Rack, from Far Rock to Blacktop to Uptown to the beat. Heck, nobody want to guard the point. The point guard in basketball is the floor general. To be a New York City point guard, you must have toughness.
They push you, they foul you. You can't call no foul. You went at each other's heads.
Everybody got shook.
Handle!
No girl can guard me. I dribble the air out the ball if you wanted me to.
And showmanship.
What? When you from New York and you shake somebody and the crowd go, that's like 5-6 points in our brain.
It wasn't just move, it was your sneakers, it was your shorts, it was your haircut. The whole mentality was like, somebody did it like this, I'm gonna do it this much iller.
Y'all New York dudes is crazy.
When I say legendary, a move is named after him.
What we were seeing was cultural resilience.
We've revolutionized this game with our influence.
New York City playground basketball blew up on a global scale.
Hip-hop, fashion, combined together.
Style, swag, charisma. It's New York City at its finest.
Make it here, Anywhere else is just practice. Paradise compared to a paradise. Yo, I swear there's something in the water.
And I invite anybody who want to come on the show and tell a story, as long as you're credible enough. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Top 5 Puerto Rican players all time.
That's tough, B. I mean,
I know, but I think a lot of people need to, you know, that need to be a light need to be shed on that, because again, you know, sometimes you can just see through one lens, and I think people need to see
no doubt,
the other side of it. You know,
that's a tough one because Carmelo Anthony is Puerto Rican, right? And a lot of people don't know that, but I mean, he's one of the greatest players in the last 20 years to play on the pro level, and he's an NCAA champion. You know, then you go JJ Barea, who's a NBA champion with the Mavericks, and you know, killed at Boston University, and has killed in the Puerto Rican Pro League too. Then
let's keep it simple. Let's keep it simple.
Yeah, so if you're gonna go with Nuyorican, I mean, Butch Lee, you got to say first and foremost, because like I said, he might be the only cat. I don't know. He got a PSAL chip, an NCAA chip, and an NBA chip.
That's like Kareem with the, you know, Catholic school.
College, how many people?
NBA,
how many people could say that?
You know,
right?
I mean, not too many people can say that.
And the PSAL and NCAA, he was an MVP. You know, so but Butch, so Butch definitely in that mix. West Korea, who a lot of people don't know because again, like, you know, well, West wasn't from New York City; he was from Long Island, but he played for the national team of Puerto Rico, and I think it was in '83 or '84. He played against a squad that had Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, Chris Mullin, Ewing, had 40, my dude.
Woo.
In international competition. You hear who I just mentioned. Probably Leon Wood was on that squad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're talking about like one of the greatest college teams, pre-Dream Team ever assembled. And he had 40 on them. He put 40 on them. So Wes is definitely up there. Georgie Torres, you got to include, who wound up becoming the all-time leading scorer in Puerto Rico's history in the pro league out there. But, you know, was from the Bronx, was from Patterson Projects, I believe, you know, which was where Tiny Archibald was from, I believe, if I'm correctly. And then you got Munch, Raymond Cruz, who was also on the national team of Puerto Rico, legendary player in the pro league there, legendary pickup player. I think Munch played at Clinton. I don't remember. But yeah, Munch was a monster.
People saying Eddie Rivera, Felipe Lopez. But this is only your five, Bob. I'm not
Felipe
adding to your
Dominican.
five.
You asked for Puerto Rican. Yeah.
No, you're right. And what about Eddie Rivera? Played for Utah.
I don't remember him.
He's a little. He's
I'm just thinking of guys in the
He's definitely a little younger. No, but the five that you mentioned.
Oh, and James True Carter. James True Carter. How could I forget James? Like,
that's right. That's right. He's Puerto Rican because I know about that through BJ, and their cousin is the secretary of my school. So definitely that for sure. Yeah. Man.